All Hit Radio.
Welcome to the X Zone, a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. Now, here's your host, Rob McConnell.
And good evening, one and all, and welcome back to the X Zone. I am Rob McConnell, and for the next 2 hours, I'm your host. I am your guide, as together we will cross this time-space continuum that I call the X Zone. It's a place where people dare to believe and dare to be heard. It's a place where fact is fiction and fiction is reality. And the X Zone comes to you Monday through Friday from 10 p.m. Eastern until midnight, right here on the X Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and on your hometown radio, Classic 1220. That's CFAJ Radio AM in St. Catharines, and they stream us around the world on classic1220.ca. If you have any questions you'd like me to answer off air, please send me an email, xzone@xzoneradiotv.com, and on all social media sites, Xzone Radio TV. My guest this hour, X Zone Nation, is Brandy Stark. We're going to be talking to Brandy about paranormal pets, paranormal investigations, and Valentine. She has a good story to go with that one. And we're going to be talking to Brandy way down in St. Pete's, Florida. So joining us is Brandy Stark. And Brandy, welcome back to the X Zone, my friend. How have you been?
Oh, well, it's been an interesting time. Yes, so I was telling you a little bit off air. Yeah. I get to sound a little throatier than usual, in part because I just had surgery 2 days ago. So we'll see how this interview goes, right? But I actually broke my left leg. And so I'm starting Beltane out, with my leg up and the pugs chewing their chew toys around me. But I do get to talk to you, so that makes it much better.
Oh, flattery will get you everywhere on this show, I'll tell you.
Thank you.
My gosh, I know how you must feel, because it was 4 years ago that I fell off the roof putting Christmas decorations up. So, and I was laid up for a number of months. I had, I shattered my femur, I shattered my pelvis. And when they put me back together again, the right leg that had suffered the damage was 1.5 inches shorter than the other leg.
Oh no!
So they called me Hop-Along Robbie around here. And
they better not down here. But it's incredible. I mean, I'm sad to say. I mean, the last time I broke a bone was because of the pugs. I've only broken 2 in my life. The first time was my ankle. Yeah. And that was because of the pugs.
Oh, okay, hold on here. How does a little beautiful pug break your ankle?
Well, at the time, as you know, I have a grumble,
yes,
which is a bunch of pugs, and I had to carry out my oldest pug, who was arthritic.
Oh.
At the same time, I had puppies that I was puppy training. Mm-hmm. And so the very, very sad and disgusting part is that while I'm carrying out this 30-pound arthritic pug and I can't see in front of me, I actually slipped in a puddle of puppy pee and went down on my ankle. Right? It actually went straight back. And that was just great.
Gosh. And of course, you and I both proved that gravity is real, and it's not the fall that hurts, it's the sudden stop.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, and of course now my Puggle's awake. That's
Oh, it's
lovely. But
okay.
I'll try to get her. Come on, Penelope. Stop. Would you like a Puggle? Can I send one up to you up there in Canada?
Actually, my dear friend, I thank you so much for the offer, but we have our little
Oh,
golden noodle Sophie now,
you're
and
good. You're fit, huh?
yeah, I am. So
The
thank you.
This time though, this bone, unfortunately, was paranormally uh, oriented. I recently got Penelope. Come on, be a good girl. Unless there's a ghost here, I don't want to hear it. I recently got a 1998 beautiful red. It's a red Cadillac
Oh
hearse,
my gosh, that's wonderful.
and it's like all of the things I end up with. It's weird because
You're
I had
Brandy.
wanted. It is a bright red hearse. It's like candy apple red, and it's sparkly. And I'm like, oh no, oh no, I'm gonna have to get this hearse now. But the weird thing is that um, it was in this little rinky-dink lot in a place called Hudson. So
Uh-huh.
that is kind of out in the boondocks from St. Pete. It's about an hour away. I actually tracked this thing. I was looking about 4 or 5 different hearses, and I tracked it for a while, and then all of a sudden the price dropped. I'm like, huh, okay.
Yeah.
So over spring break, I tootled up in my Miata and took a look at it. Um, and the guy couldn't tell me any history. And I'm a historian. So,
Yeah.
I can't have something that doesn't have a history with it.
Hmm.
So it turned out there was a phone number on the window, on a wrap on a window. And I'm like, I'm just going to try. I want to see what it is. But I called the number, and it was the prior owner of the hearse. He was an artist. He had put up like a window wrap advertising his art, and the number was still good. And what gets to be even weirder is that he had sold the hearse when he moved to St. Petersburg, and he honestly thought it had already been destroyed. And of course, I had to go from St. Petersburg, Florida to Hudson to go get this hearse to bring it back to St. Petersburg. But the fact that the hearse was retired from North Carolina, where it had belonged to a funeral home,
Hmm.
I guess they retired it at 20 years. So in 19, let's see, it's a 98, so they retired him in 2017. This artist got the hearse. He's the one who painted it red, which is it's a brilliant. I mean, it's so cool. Like nobody else I know has a red hearse, so I'm like, yes, this is mine. And like I said, he drove around in it for a while. It
Uh-huh.
did have a fender bender. It is not in pristine shape. This will be a labor of love. But what I ended up doing was um, I am still wanting to create a permanent paranormal museum.
Hmm.
But in the meantime, because and this is the way things work down here, when I got the hearse, because I wanted it for the Spirits of St. Petersburg and for my art business, essentially, it's considered commercial. Even though I am not driving anybody else in it, just me, it's commercial if I put a magnet on it that says Spirits of St. Petersburg. I'm like, okay. So I ended up, the irony is the commercial insurance on this thing, I can't even drive people on a tour in it. I can't pick somebody up from their home and drop them off at their home. And I mean, the insurance rules are crazy. But the insurance for 1 year actually cost me the same amount of money as buying the hearse and putting in about $1,300 to get it roadworthy again. I mean, it's that crazy. So I named him Spice because my Miata's name is Sugar, so I have Sugar and
Oh, there
Spice.
you go.
But my end goal with him, as I've kind of slowly started to restore him,
Hmm.
but it is to actually install paranormal display cases, something that I can actually put some paranormal items into the doors, into the back door. I actually have a cooling coffin for the hearse part. And even perhaps get a TV where we can run some of our YouTube finds, like the YouTube videos that we have, and actually take it out into the community. So but he's beautiful. I love this thing. And I never knew I wanted a hearse so badly until I had this hearse. And now it's like I've always had them, except he's an older guy, and I knew he'd need work, and he overheated because a hose blew, which is why I had to take him up to the mechanic, which is why, because I'm the only driver in my household, I very stupidly, I have a scooter, and I thought, oh, it's only 10 blocks away. I can do this. And I fell off 5 blocks down.
Oh, gosh.
Hit the ground, did not even hit the left leg. I landed on my right side on grass. I mean, all the things you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
But the doctor thinks that my knees must have hit each other, which is how I actually broke my left leg. So it's fine. It's fine. Just a little setback,
Yeah.
but
But
what are you going to do?
I have to ask you, how do you know the difference between a male and a female when it comes to a vehicle?
That's always so, I don't know if it's the artist in me, but the Miata
could it be
Go ahead.
that the vehicle blew its hose?
Well, he's eye candy,
Uh-huh.
so I will have to be a sugar mama. It could be that he blew his hose, yeah. There's something too, like the Miata is small and comfortable, and she's quick and maneuverable.
Yeah.
And the hearse, you just feel like really safe in. I don't know how to explain that, but he's so smooth. It's like driving on glass, and I love that. So I know that he was a black hearse originally, because I've peeled off some of the paint, and I've been kind of trying to do basic repairs just to kind of get him to a point that I can start moving him forward again. But everywhere I go, every time I stop with this car, when I did get him up to the mechanics, they were like, oh my gosh, this is so badass. And that's what I get. I'm like, it turns out this car is a guy magnet. I had no idea. All I needed was a hearse. But these gentlemen, these men will come up and they're like, I just had to know who owned this car. And I'm like, well, it's me. Do you do any paranormal investigation? I don't know. I shouldn't ask that question, but it has been really weird. But yeah, unfortunately, do I add the cost of the broken bone to the hearse? So does that make that hearse even more valuable? I am not sure yet, but I cannot believe I did it. I'm still very upset about it, but I have to give kudos to the Spirits of St. Petersburg team, because understand, I'm still a caretaker. It's just me and Mom. I have all of these pets, and one of the members, bless her heart, I mean, she met me at the ER. She took me to the ortho appointment. She drove me to surgery, and she waited for me. Another member actually, I have never had anybody other than my mother actually spend the night in this house because of all the pets, because they're crazy. And this one Spirits member, God bless her, for the first night, I had to bring all the pugs in with me to the bedroom and close the door, but she stayed to make sure that I'd be okay.
All right, I hate to do this to you, because I have so much
commercial.
fun talking to you. We've got to take a
Sure.
break, so please stand by.
Absolutely.
Exo Nation, our good friend Brandy Stark is with us tonight. Her website, spiritsofstpete.com. That's spiritsofstpete.com. More about the car, the scooter, the accident, and stories from the crypt that she drives around. A candy red hearse. Gotta see it to believe it. We'll be back on the other side of this break. Don't go away.
I was waiting for so long for a miracle to come. Everyone told me to be strong. And don't shed a tear. Through the darkness and good times, I knew I'd make it through.
And welcome back, everyone. Brandy Stark is our special guest. Her website is www.spiritsofstpete.com. Brandy, for the listeners who haven't had the opportunity of listening to you before here on the show, tell them about yourself. How did you get involved in the paranormal?
Well, I started in 1997. I had been interested in the paranormal since I was a kid, so I'm a Gen Xer. And, there's kind of that whole kind of fringe movement from the 70s and 80s. Now, I am not old enough to remember much from the 70s, but I do remember the 80s. So, you'd see the TV shows and Scooby-Doo and some of these things that came out. I was always really fascinated, so started reading books about it, and then was terrified by it until I got to college. And then in college, I started to intellectualize it, and that took a lot of the fear away. So I studied the role of ghosts in culture for pretty much all of my degrees, and I loved it. And then ultimately I kind of got mentored by some of the paranormalists from the 70s and 80s. A lot of them are gone now. It's so sad because every now and again, I'll hear from the original group and somebody else has passed over. But and then I started doing my own investigations, started kind of gathering up local lore and legends, and then met some folks who they were house inspectors. They were retired engineers. I really wanted that scientific kind of counterbalance, and they had the equipment, and we started up the Spirits of St. Petersburg, and we've been going ever since. So it has been a journey that I didn't expect, I have to say. I always saw myself as maybe being an academic, but in today's world, unfortunately, I'm going to tell you that this is not the America that I ever saw coming or that I wanted, or the state of Florida. And there's a lot of things that are really constricting on education, particularly because I teach things like religious studies and humanities and literature. So, it seems like my next calling is really going to be kind of that haunted historical paranormal museum, which is kind of my end goal right now. It's been one heck of a journey, though, and I've loved it. I started doing Paranormal Pets podcasts about 15 years ago. I was interviewed because I had a Paranormal Pugs page up, and ended up being asked to be the next host. And I think I took over at like episode 10, and there's 140, I guess, about now. I have written a book, and in fact, I just rewrote the book. I kind of edited it down a bit. I also discovered there's a glitch in one of the files, so that was embarrassing. But so it has 2 new chapters, newly expanded, all polished up, bigger, better, badder. And then I just got hired this year to start writing once a month ghost lore articles for a paper here called The Gabber. So it's the oldest independent paper in Florida. So I have also gotten their permission to start compiling some of those articles, like the initial stage article research, because when they get into the newspaper, they're so condensed. They're about 500 words. But they've given me permission to absolutely collect up the articles that I write and to make them into my next book. So we started that. But it's, it has been, I have to say, I really never did see any of this coming. But you get to a point where you just start to go with it because, I don't know, maybe this is really what I'm meant to be. I've really tried to work with folks to talk to them about understanding culture and heritage and tradition, which does impact how we see ghosts, to deal with entities in a manner of reason and compassion. Again, I do believe that if you throw fear out at them, it just kind of becomes amplified and comes back. You need to be the caveat, and you also have to know that this is still the material world. It is still our realm, and that we are not powerless. It is frightening, yeah, but you cannot be afraid. However, don't poke at it either. I'm not saying go poke at it, but I am saying work on that, I guess, self-discipline and dealing with something difficult. I have a great team, as I was saying before the break. One of them actually I mean, I had to get puppy downers, thank goodness, for a couple of them because they were so high strung that somebody else was in the house. But she stayed overnight. Well, the day after my surgery, and another person made sure that my mom and I had food. And
Oh, God bless them.
I, uh, I couldn't even. This has been very humbling for me because I'm not used to this.
Yeah.
I'm used to being very independent, and I don't usually ask for help, and I wasn't really asking for help, but they volunteered it, and I just it's giving me a lot to think about right now as I'm laid up and kind of thinking, wow, there really are people that care, because this world has just seemed so harsh lately that something like this has been very uplifting for me, at least personally. Although I still do not appreciate the broken leg or the pain, the surgery, or anything else along those lines. So, universe, next time, find a very gentle way of trying to get my attention. But I am a little stubborn, so I suppose falling off a scooter and miraculously breaking my leg is the way. I don't know.
You were saying that it's not the America that it used to be. How has how has this new administration that has basically sent the entire globe into a spin, how has the administration actually affected what you do as a paranormal investigator, as a archivist of the work that you do?
It's honestly, it is probably impacting education more than anything else. So I have been in a college classroom teaching since 2000. My heart has, really taken some very heavy hits, particularly as the education system is being transformed into something that is not critical thinking. There is no indoctrination in higher education. We're just giving you the tools to do research, reliable research, and to form an informed opinion. I mean, it has been very hard, and to actually see things like I teach religious studies, which is the objective study of religion, and I have a student in one class who is going to proselytize to other students, and I'm like, listen, please don't do that. This is an open forum. And I actually did say, it is not a class to proselytize. And this student actually said, oh, well, you can't, but I can, and the college will let me. And she was right. And that's where it's like,
wow.
Okay, but the thing is that we might have people of different backgrounds here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, but if somebody's hurting, then I want them to know Jesus is there for them. That's fine, but not in class. But yeah, there was no backing for that. And I do find myself kind of saying, I don't even know if I can, when you talk about, for example, Voodoo as a cultural collision, socio-political, economic. I mean, there's so much that has happened to create this religion, including slavery and the African diaspora. And can I even talk about that anymore? So I know I've taken a personal hit because I was full-time for a long time, and it was kind of like the wild, wild west. And I thought I was going to get out of education in 2019, and I kind of did. I just taught for one college online. I quit my full-time faculty gig, which nobody ever does, but I was just like, life is too short not to be happy. I worked a year at a hospital, which ironically is haunted, but boy, trying to get those ghost stories out of those people, like crying teeth, let me tell you. And then I got called in 2020 by another college because they needed a humanities part-time person. And so I was able to do that for a while, but it's been interesting because starting this summer, I've been given fewer classes, and then in the fall, fewer classes. And so I kind of also feel like this is going to be a transitory point for me where my mother does need more help. Obviously, I am going to have to rest more with this stupid leg. Education, it's hard because I don't know even who to trust. And I will tell you that what has happened in the state of Florida is that they are not allowing academics to be college presidents anymore. They are appointing politicians.
Oh, brother.
And that has happened at my college. this individual actually resigned from the legislature in 2024 to become the president in 2025, and sent out a letter saying that the Department of Government Efficiency for the state of Florida was studying us and that we needed to cooperate fully. And it was just kind of like, it was the tone of the letter. So it's okay. I mean, I kind of was feeling that coming, I guess, but it's hard because I think the students do still appreciate what I have to offer. And, being able to teach about the supernatural and, have something kind of quirky and zany, like the evolution of werewolves from ancient Greece to today, or, looking at film through Frankenstein, the original cinematography from 90 years ago, talking about Homer and ghosts. I mean, talking about how the Enlightenment changed how people perceived ghosts. It was such a different and kind of weird topic, and they may never want to hear about a ghost again, but it was quirky, and I do think they kind of appreciated it. And I've had this from students where they're like, well, you're not giving us a ton of busy work. You're not just teaching us the textbook. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I expect you to read the textbook, but you need to see how this knowledge plays into formation. So that's where we are.
Alrighty, please stand by, Brandy. We've got to take our break at the bottom of the hour. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to get more information about Brandy and the great work she does, visit her website at www.spiritsofstpete.com. And we're going to be talking to Brandy about paranormal pets when we come back from this break. I find it a very fascinating topic, and I'm sure you will too. So whatever you do, don't go away. Once again, Brandy Stark is my guest, and Brandy and I will be back on the other side of this commercial break as we continue from our broadcast center and studios in St. Catharines, Ontario, Canada, of the X-Zone Broadcast Network. And you're listening to us on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, Talkstar Radio Network, Mutual Broadcast Network, and throughout the province of Ontario, the northern tiers of the state of New York and Pennsylvania, on your hometown radio, Classic 1220, CFAJ AM, streaming us on www.classic1220.ca. So whatever you do, don't go away, because we're going to be right back.
A new day, a new day. I was waiting for so long for a miracle to
Welcome back, everyone. Brandy Stark is our very special guest of this hour. Brandy is with Spirits of St. Pete. Their website is spiritsofstpete.com. And Brandy, during the break, you and I were briefly discussing the extraordinary events that are happening within the United States at the hands of President Trump. And I always thought that you in the United States had freedom of speech, freedom of religion.
It's going to be really interesting to see where everything goes. Um, right now, there is a lot that is up in the air, and I think um, a lot of things are being challenged. Some things have definitely held up. Um, we're just going to have to really kind of see where the final showdown is, and it has made things more challenging in some ways. Like, if I'm a small business and we're going into a recession, like, guess what gets tossed out first? It's going to be the art
Yeah.
and the paranormal, because both of those are kind of like leisure activities, if you will. Um, but at the same time, I think both fields are also kind of strong in the sense that people want an escape. I mean, when we're talking about paranormal history, it gets us out of where we are right now, and it slides us so beautifully into this other place and time where, sure, they had their own issues as well. Where people are people, where I love John Williams, who's the founder of St. Petersburg, and how his wife kind of had to polish a few things over because uh, Williams he actually ran for mayor. He ran for mayor of the city that he founded, and he lost, and he was a little miffed. And so, kind of how his wife really kind of created a new public image for him, particularly after he died. And you get to talk about that, and you get people to kind of connect with that.
That's right.
In the past, it's um, I think that's probably how I'm going to have to handle things. Taking a look at trying to create a space that is open and, like the classroom setting where people can talk to me and to each other and with like-minded people about the supernatural. And I think even if we can get some relief, because there's a lot of background noise, and we're all impacted. It's not just the United States; the whole world right now is really being impacted. So if there are ways for us to temporarily rest and to recharge and to focus on something else, and I can help facilitate that, then I will be happy to do that. And what better way? I mean, I love talking about the dead, so I'm like, y'all are helping me.
That's right.
But it has been really, the response has been really good. The ghost tours, I'm still doing them for the St. Pete Museum of History. They're going pretty well. I'm hoping to pick up a few more tours, but we'll see how that goes. I do need to work on paranormal pets. I need people's pet ghost stories, but I actually wrote an article on one of the very old urban legends that we had studied, which was Morris the Gulfport Casino cat. It was a ghost cat. So the story is that there's a casino that goes back to the 1920s in Gulfport, Florida, which Gulfport was kind of it was supposed to be a retirement village essentially for people from the military, and that never took off. So it kind of became like it had the casino, and it was kind of a leisure boat area. So kind of a calm, laid back, kind of a fun area. Um, so in the 80s, the Gulfport Casino, they adopted a stray cat. And at that point, do you remember the Morris the Nine Lives cat?
I certainly do. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a button that said Morris for president. So getting back to that one, but that he looked like Morris from the commercial. So they adopted him. They named him Morris. And it said that when he passed away, and I think he was at least 15 years old, that his little cat ghost still haunts the area. And it was so exciting because I actually had somebody track me down. I don't know how they got my phone number, but they tracked me down through the Gabber where this article had been published. And they wanted to talk about it. And she said, because what had happened is the town put up a little monument for Morris the ghost cat.
Oh.
So there's a little ghost cat sculpture. And she would talk about how she would always rub the belly for good luck. And because her family name also was Morris, she would take people out to see it. And how Morris actually still has living descendants. But it was really fun. And then I did get a few more people saying, oh yeah, I've heard about that. And a couple other encounters with Morris the ghost cat. So, that is where it gets to be really neat. And you find folks and they get really excited about talking about their local haunts and that somebody else knows about it. Um, and that's what makes me happy. And that's what I'm kind of really hoping I can do. So you have to keep your fingers crossed because, this does not make things much easier, I have to say. But um, I mean, technically, any time in history, well, no, I guess I can't say that. I was going to say there's never a perfect moment, but there are definitely less perfect moments, and that may be what we're in right now. But I think that's going to be my goal with the supernatural, to really get people to enjoy and connect. Um, but yes, if your listeners do have paranormal pet stories, please tell them to feel free to contact me because I would definitely love to do more paranormal pet podcasts. But we have been doing some investigations around here. So in addition to writing, we double checked my artist studio, and we actually had some great phenomenon. So much fun. We had, speaking of cats, the cat toys, which when you're on an investigation, you call light sensors, but the little cat toys that when you tap them, they light up. Uh, we were actually getting responses through the cat toys, the light sensors, and through our REM pod, which was really exciting and very cool. We think that it is. There was an artist who passed away last year who had been a very long-term member. We think he might be there, and we were possibly also picking up on some of the former Rutland employees that might have actually worked in that building back in the day. So that was really, really cool, and we are getting ready to investigate, and I am so excited for this. A haunted Unitarian church in downtown St. Pete. This church is 100 years old, and they think that a former, like a sexton essentially, property coordinator, actually might still be haunting the site. And so I am like, I love the Unitarians. They're like so open-minded about stuff. But this would be one of the first times that we've really gotten to check out a local church. And it's in an area where all of these buildings are haunted. It's in like what used to be the old downtown of St. Pete. And so this was kind of the crux of the city for so long. And so that I think we're supposed to do it Monday. We might have to bump it back depending on what my leg decides to do. But that's a really exciting case. And folks have been starting to report more phenomenon. We've gotten tapped for a couple more cases lately, which I think is really interesting because it got very quiet on the home fronts for a while. And now we're hearing new reports from people about possible phenomenon. So I don't know if that's the unrest, if the Jungian ideal is correct and we are impacting each other in subconscious worlds and other worlds around us, if that is causing the ghosts to start acting up. But I'm excited to finally be getting some like new stomping grounds. I'm really excited for the Unitarian Church. I'm really hoping that we can do maybe something in October with them. They've got this great history, and anyway, okay, I ramble.
Well, I was listening.
Okay, I'm sorry. I was like, did I make my 14 minutes yet? Because I just keep talking. But anyway,
but what you're
exciting.
teaching,
Yeah.
and what you're doing is educational, because I believe
Yeah.
that true paranormal investigations are searching for history, whether it's in
Yeah.
a graveyard, whether it's in an abandoned factory. You people who do the paranormal investigations keep history alive.
And that's what's so funny is that I have been asked to be a keynote speaker for something that's called, let's see, the Committee of Neighborhood Associations. It's called CONA down here. So St. Pete has, it subdivides up into neighborhoods, and each neighborhood has, it's not a homeowners association, it's nothing like that, but it's kind of a group of volunteers that tries to keep the history of the neighborhood alive and kind of
Yeah.
coordinates events within a neighborhood. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. The idea is to study the past, embrace the present, and impact the future. And that, we can do that through our haunted histories. You get to know who was here. Now, particularly with paranormal investigations, I get to see the people, the homeowners that are here now. And of course, since they are here now, they are impacting the future. And heck, if I live long enough, maybe I'll be investigating. No, I won't say that part. I'll be investigating them if I make it to like 150. But it's so, it's so cool and so exciting and so dynamic. And it's interesting because it ties to the humanities so beautifully with this idea that humankind finds immortality through being remembered. I mean, that's the whole thing about Achilles,
Exactly.
right? And so I hope that I do that a little bit with the ghosts. I hope that I allow them to be remembered and to kind of exist again in their own way.
All right.
Through their
Okay, I've
impact.
got to take my break. Please stand by. And Exxon Nation, our guest this hour is Brandy Stark, and her website is spiritsofstpete.com. And if you have a paranormal pet story that you would like to share with Brandy, send it to me and I'll be glad to forward it to Brandy. Send it to Exxon at exxonradiotv.com. And what we're going to do for you, Brandy, is we're going to put an ad in this edition of the X Chronicles newspaper looking for stories for you. So please stand by.
Thank you.
All right, we'll be back on the other side of the short break as we wrap up the first hour of tonight's show here in the X Zone on the X Zone Broadcast Network and on classic1220.ca.
Right up, ladies and gentlemen, to the Morgan Show on Earth. Well, she was born in a fun house. She grew up on a wild mouse, driving bumper car around the ground, and a big rig from town to town. She sleeps on a roller coaster. She looks like a girly poster. She did both Barnum and Bailey at these 3 shows daily. She's a carnival girl. She's more fun than a tilt-a-whirl. She's a laugh in the dark. She's an amusement park.
And that is Band from Heaven singing She's an Amusement Park. Good friend of mine, MJM, Michael J. McCurley in Hamilton, Ontario, who has to be one of the top 3 recording engineers in Canada. Once again, if you'd like to get copies of any of Mike's music, their website is bandfromheaven.com. My guest this hour talking about Dead is Brandy Stark, who owns a cherry-colored hearse. Now, I bet that if you were to go camping, driving your hearse, and you drove into a campground, I bet you'd be able to get any darn spot you wanted.
That is what's so funny is part of my plan with the hearse was my mother and I, we have houses next door to each other, which is fantastic. It works well for that caregiving element. But, we had back-to-back hurricanes this year, and that was a little frightening. But we can't really evacuate because my car is too small and her car is unreliable. So my thought was to get a hearse because we could get all of the pets in there. And we could maybe get out of here. Now, hearses, just so you know, not the best on mileage. So it'll be like 15 miles to the gallon. But it was so funny because I had a friend of mine who said, well, yeah, but where are you going to go? I mean, there's not going to be any hotels that are going to let you check in. And I said, well, quite frankly, I think I could get a bed in the back of this hearse. She could have her half. I could have my half. The pugs would sleep around us. I think we'd be okay. So this hearse has like a lot riding on it right now, but I did have the Spirits of St. Petersburg check it out because I was like, look, my mother is already a backseat driver. I don't need a corporeally challenged backseat driver trying to tell me, turn your signal on. Did you? Yeah, my mother, yeah, all the time. Did you turn your signal on? Is your signal on? Okay, you can go now. She does this all the time. It drives me crazy. And I'm thinking, if I have a ghost doing that, I'm not going to make it. And so essentially the Spirits of St. Pete did check out the hearse with me. They did determine, they actually think that when it got converted, first of all, they said really a hearse isn't going to necessarily be that haunted because it's really just a transitory, moving a body from one place to another. But they also thought that when the artist was transforming it, that he kind of pulled out some of that energy, even inadvertently, so that it is not haunted. And I'm okay with that. I don't need any more road distractions because my driving is already questionably, it's very Floridian. But I don't know. I think that is what attracted me so much to this hearse, was that it is red, and it even has like a red cloth roof, and it's like the reddest hearse I've ever seen in my life. But nobody else would have one. I mean, there are other people around here who do have hearses. We have Dr. Paul Bearer, who I think just got his TV show rebooted. He's got a hearse, and there's an ice cream hearse out there that sells ice cream. It's a 1950s version, and there's a few others that tootle around the state. But I think the red, sparkly, I'm just like, it was one of those things when I first drove up and saw it, I was like, oh no, this is mine. You just know it is meant for you. So, and he's a good boy. I feel for him. I don't think he's gotten really great care. And of course, I have to kind of try to explain to folks because they're like, well, you could have gotten something, newer. And I'm like, yeah, a lot more expensive, but yeah, he needs some work, but I don't mind that because it's kind of that labor of love where he takes on some of my energy and my personality, as this car gets fixed and repaired. And I, as an artist, I love that. Plus, the other part of my little artist brain says, there is something to upcycling, to taking something that is still perfectly good but in need of repair and repairing it. And it's a great project. It's where all of my money, other than my leg, will be going. So the leg and the hearse is where everything. Any readers out there who want to buy books, feel free to check them out on Amazon. But anyway, it's. I'm excited though.
You sound it.
That's the thing. That's what. And I think that's why I like things like this, because life is so hard and it's so uphill, but when you find something that kind of wakes you up and you're like, oh, this is going to be so cool when it's done, and it is. I think that's what also attracts me to things like this. So it's a crazy thing, but as I said, everybody who sees this hearse just is like, oh my gosh, this is so awesome. And I'm like, yes, it is. So
it is mine.
That's right. I bought it. But it's still been a lot more work than I expected, especially that commercial insurance. I'm a little disappointed with how difficult that is. And man, if I wanted to do ghost tours in that thing, the insurance would be phenomenally high. But that's where I came up with that. Like I said, the portable paranormal museum where, I can take him out to shows and on the road and to venues. And there are car shows. I mean, what the heck? Why not enter him into a car show when he's ready? And actually open him up and have him, with my cooling coffin in there. And I do have a haunted nun doll, which is always exciting. She can go in there.
A haunted nun doll? Tell us about it.
I acquired a haunted nun doll. There is something down here that takes place in August called the Tabernacle of Oddities, and it takes place in Ybor in a haunted building. And this particular doll was there. And it was like the only thing that attracted my eye other than trinitite. There were two things I ended up buying from that particular event. And she had a sign on her saying, "Careful, don't touch, I'm haunted." And I'm like, okay. And it turns out that apparently the prior owner, when she would pick up this doll, would feel something biting at her. Um, and so literally gave the doll away to this other lady who I guess just like kept it in storage. And I'm like, well, that's not really how you know, if they're that frustrated, you need to work through it. So she currently resides in my living room, but I did have her checked by the spirits of St. Peter. Like, I have a paranormal team. I'm going to use them. And really, I don't, she's not negative. And in fact, you know, I think she just wanted out of the box. I don't know what else to say. It's kind of weird, but I have taken her out as kind of an early paranormal exhibit, kind of starting to plug the idea of a museum. And I've let people use EMF meters to scan her, or, you know, to see if they sense anything with her, or we talk about how there is a psychological response in humankind that when we see something that looks human but it isn't human, it creeps us out. And that is actually a phobia, and that is something documentable. And people, 2/3 to 1/3, for all of the folks that have seen her, they get to vote. Do you think she's haunted or not? And so far, it's 2/3 to 1/3. So yeah, they do think she is haunted. But I just try to, you know, make sure she's in a good spot and has some movement around her, and she seems happy here. But eventually, you know, I'd like to have her as part of this portable museum. You know, even talking about things like, what do you do with a haunted item? Because how do you know it's haunted? How can it, you know, how can you tell if it's haunted? Where does the ghost come from? How do you validate this? Because I have no other history other than that verbal piece that I was given. You know, and really kind of show the truth behind the paranormal and the investigation part. So, for example, I did discover that she was a part of a line of dolls that came out in 1960. The price that I paid for her was about in the high end of the middle. She is not in pristine condition, so at least I wasn't ripped off. But you know, they do have other dolls on eBay that are from the same line. You know, and so, you know, once you start doing that research, why is this particular one, you know, being picked out? What has happened? And honestly, I still don't know. I don't have enough history to really say, you know, it's an attachment or it belonged in a house that was haunted or anything along those lines. But I think this will be really fun, and I think it'll be innovative. And I think it is adaptable enough that I can take this purse to art shows, to paranormal events, and even to car shows, and just kind of, you know, start getting us out there a bit more.
Plus, it's great advertisement for you, the work that you do, your groups. Have you or your group ever gone into a flea market and offered the people who are there to check the merchandise that they're selling to see if any of the merchandise is haunted?
Ooh, I like that.
Yes, you can use it. Yes, you can use it.
Thank you.
My
Okay,
pleasure.
I'm going
My
to
pleasure.
introduce that. Yeah, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
We have gotten to a couple of places that think they have haunted items, and we've been kind of checking into those, but that's an interesting thought. So actually have my spirits team members go out and see if they can find haunted items. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then once again,
Well,
creating a
that would
buzz.
build up the museum right quick.
That's right. And this would create a positive buzz for you, your tours, and the true meaning of the word paranormal, and how in everyone's life at one time or another, they do have a paranormal experience of their own.
That is 100% correct. And I tell everybody that. You don't necessarily have to believe, but I will guarantee you every single person out there has that one experience where go, did that happen? And I always tell them, if you're asking that question, And that's probably your paranormal experience right there. And, you're very fortunate to have that. And to have that little glimpse of something beyond who and what we are. And it's good. It's good.
Brandy, the time has come when I must say so long to you, my dear friend.
Oh,
Please get better soon. Come back and
Oh,
visit. The door is always open to you. And please
well, I appreciate that.
give my best to your team. And because you, my friend, are one of the most credible paranormal investigators that I know.
Oh,
And
thank you.
and we need you out there, Brandy. And any way that we can help you, you just let us know. We'll be there for you.
Well, pray for America anyway, and I appreciate that.
I do,
Buy
my
the
dear.
books, and if you're ever down here, come and take some tours. We'll be happy to show you all of our haunted hotspots.
Brandy, take care. Keep smiling and get well soon.
Thank you. You do the same, and
You-
I'll talk with you soon.
You bet. Take care, dear. And Exo Nation, if you'd like to find out more about Brandy, visit her website, spiritsofstpete.com. I'll be back on the other side of this very short break as hour number 2 of the X Zone starts right now.
Sleeps on a